Sister Wives' real reason Kody Brown turned his back on kids. What is the real reason that Kody Brown turned his back on his children? The Sister Wives star has made up a handful of excuses as to why he and his children are estranged. Yet none of them are valid or seem to really make sense. So is there a deeper meaning? Keep reading for more details. What's the real reason Kody Brown turned his back on kids? When Sister Wives first began, Kody Brown was a very active father to his 13 children. They all lived under one roof, and that may have played a part in his involvement. His OG 3 wives had their separate spaces, and he would rotate between them. And then Robin Brown came into the family. She initially lived 5 hours away, so Kody would visit her on weekends. Then she moved closer to the family, but never in the polygamist home that Mary Brown, Janelle Brown, and Christine Brown Woolley lived in with their kids. They all moved to Las Vegas, and each wife had their own home, but Kody soon favored Robin, which everyone could see. He was spending more time at her home with her children, and things were becoming distant. The family then decided to move to Arizona, which not everyone was on board with. They had land there, but their homes were spread apart, so the already crumbling family fell to pieces. Then the pandemic hit, and Kody was adamant everyone follow his lead or stay out of his way. That was when Janelle and Christine withdrew, and the latter left the family. They chose their children and self-respect over Kody Brown. The kids separated from Kody as well, but he blamed his exes, saying they were feeding the children lies. He also claimed his kids were rude to Robin and needed to apologize. However, fans have another theory as to why Kody turned on his kids and shared it via Reddit. They believe it all has to do with his disdain for his ex-wives, and it's a grudge he cannot let go of. The OG 3 are the culprit. Kody Brown has blamed everyone for him and his children falling out. He has said that his daughter, Maddie Brownbrush, is a gossip. Plus, his ex-wife, Christine Brown Woolley, is chirping in their ears, but the kids have said he needs to be held accountable. A fan flat out thinks that he is so angry with the OG 3 that it is the reason why he won't reconcile with his kids. He lives a half hour away from Janelle Brown, yet he had not been to her home in 2 years. It had been noted that he was so close to Janelle and their daughter, Savannah, but barely saw her. Maybe he took her out to dinner every few weeks. Janelle even said she would text him to ask Coyote Pass questions, and he would not answer her. So if he avoided his wives, he was also avoiding the kids, which is very sad. In the ever-evolving saga of Sister Wives, Kody Brown's estrangement from many of his children has left fans bewildered. How did the once proud patriarch of a sprawling plural family go from a man who cherished family picnics and game nights to someone accused of emotionally abandoning his children? Well, viewers have speculated about blame, pointing fingers at favoritism, poor communication, or even his strained relationships with his wives. The truth may be far more complex and deeply rooted in Kody's personal insecurities, shifting priorities, and the collapse of his polygamous ideals. A fragmented foundation. Kody's family was once a symbol of plural marriage harmony, with his 4 wives, Mary, Janelle, Christine, and Robin, working together to raise their combined 18 children. Though the family faced challenges, Kody seemed deeply involved in his children's lives. Whether it was attending their school events or guiding them through significant life milestones, Kody projected the image of a devoted father. But cracks in that foundation began to show when the family moved to Flagstaff, Arizona. What was meant to be a fresh start quickly unraveled into chaos. Tensions between the wives escalated, and Kody's vision of unity began to crumble. Sources close to the family suggest that Kody felt overwhelmed, unable to manage the growing emotional demands of his children amidst his failing marriages. Robin's influence, a shift in dynamics. The introduction of Robin, Kody's 4th wife, marked a turning point in the Brown family dynamic. Initially, Robin was embraced as the new addition who would strengthen the family's bond. However, over time, many of Kody's older children and even his wives began to feel that Robin monopolized his time and attention. Christine's daughter, Gwendolyn, has openly discussed the favoritism Kody showed Robin's children, often leaving the other kids feeling like second-class citizens in their own family. For Kody, this wasn't just a matter of affection. It was a question of control. Robin and her children represented a fresh slate, an opportunity to build the kind of family life he felt he had lost with his older kids. Yet this decision came at the expense of his relationships with them. The pandemic as the breaking point. While Kody's favoritism toward Robin's children had long been a source of tension, the COVID-19 pandemic amplified these issues. His strict enforcement of safety protocols isolated him from several of his kids, particularly Janelle's and Christine's, who felt his rules were extreme and unjustly applied. Garrison and Gabriel, two of Janelle's sons, became outspoken about their frustration with Kody. They felt abandoned when he refused to visit them during the pandemic, instead choosing to quarantine exclusively with Robin and her children. Kody justified his actions by citing health concerns, but his dismissive attitude toward his older children's feelings only deepened the rift. Christine, who had long been the emotional glue of the family, reached her breaking point. She not only divorced Kody, but also began publicly acknowledging his neglect of their children. Her departure wasn't just the end of their marriage. It was a public declaration that Kody had failed as a father to many of their kids. Kody's internal struggles. For fans, it's easy to view Kody's behavior as selfish or even narcissistic. But those close to him suggest that his estrangement from his children stems from internal struggles he's been unable, or unwilling, to confront. Kody has always been driven by the need to control his family's narrative. The public nature of sister wives amplified this desire, forcing him to project an image of perfection. As his family unraveled, so did his sense of identity. For Kody, being a father to 18 children meant more than just fulfilling paternal duties. It was a cornerstone of his self-worth. When the children began challenging his authority and choosing paths that didn't align with his values, Kody struggled to adapt. Instead of evolving with his family, he retreated into a smaller, more manageable bubble with Robin and her kids. A family divided. The fallout from Kody's choices has left the Brown family divided. Many of his children have gone on record expressing their hurt and disappointment. Christine's children, in particular, have been vocal about their strained relationship with their father. Peyton Brown, Christine's son, described Kody as someone who doesn't know how to apologize, suggesting that his father's pride often stands in the way of reconciliation. Meanwhile, Janelle has tried to maintain a middle ground, supporting her children while still keeping communication with Kody open. But even she has admitted that her relationship with him is strained at best. The most heartbreaking part. Many of Kody's children have expressed that they no longer feel like they're part of a family at all. The cost of plural marriage. Kody's estrangement from his children also raises broader questions about the sustainability of plural marriage. While polygamy emphasizes family unity, the reality often involves navigating complex dynamics and balancing conflicting needs. For Kody, the emotional and logistical challenges of managing multiple households became insurmountable. As his relationships with his wives deteriorated, so did his ability to connect with his children. The very system he once championed as a path to spiritual and familial fulfillment became a source of isolation and division. Kody's failure to adapt to these challenges ultimately cost him the respect and love of many of his kids. What's next for Kody and his kids? The question now is whether Kody can mend these broken relationships. While some of his children, like Robin's, remain close to him, others have expressed little interest in reconciliation. The wounds run deep, and for many of Kody's older kids, the damage feels irreparable. Fans of Sister Wives have called for Kody to seek therapy or counseling to address his issues, both as a father and as a husband. Whether he's willing to take those steps remains uncertain. What is clear, however, is that the longer Kody delays addressing these issues, the harder it will be to rebuild trust with his children. Conclusion: a legacy in question. Kody Brown's journey as a father and patriarch is a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked pride, favoritism, and emotional neglect. While his early years in Sister Wives painted a picture of a man dedicated to his family, the reality is far more complicated. Kody's choices have alienated many of his children, leaving them to question their place in his life. For fans, the story of Kody Brown is both heartbreaking and frustrating, a reminder of the fragility of family bonds and the importance of accountability. Whether Kody can salvage these relationships remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: the legacy he leaves behind will depend on his willingness to change.